having a unified set of documentation standards is incredibly important. This allows us to maximize our ability to have our invoices paid and less time to try to demonstrate why we were doing the things we were doing. So to have the software to put together all the pieces of the puzzle and provide an excellent output that justifies our actions on the job is clearly the direction that we're trying to go within the industry.
Welcome to the I Fired My Boss franchise podcast. My name is Dan Claps, founder and CEO of Franchise Playbook, a franchisor platform where we create, own, and operate dynamic franchise brands in the mobile services space. And my life's goal is to help people just like you fire their boss and become a business owner.
And I'm Christian Dadulak, top franchise consultant and co-founder of Real Franchising, a leading franchise consulting firm. And together, we're on a mission to help people fire their boss, hire themselves, and live the American dream through franchise ownership.
Welcome to another episode of the I Fired My Boss podcast with your co-host, Dan Claps. Very excited to have a very special guest, my teammate and great leader within the Voda organization, VP of Operations, Arthur Sturgis, joins us today. Arthur, how are you?
Doing good, Dan. How are you today?
Doing well. I'm excited. I've been looking forward to stealing you away and locking you in this podcast room for a little bit to share some of your vast experience with our listeners around restoration, a industry you and I are both passionate about. So to start, would love to just kind of dive into your career, kind of how you got into where you are and start there.
Yeah, and like restoration and many of the services that we offer, I kind of fell into it, to be honest. Most of my career was actually spent in the insurance and financial industry, helping train insurance agents on how to grow efficient and profitable businesses nationwide and focusing on the financial and securities markets before the market crashed. And then that's when they took a position change and joined the restoration world. And that's kind of how we fell into it. Started off ServiceMaster, helping lead the organization in business development for the West Coast franchises, and moved over to Home Franchise Concepts and Advantically to help guide that brand, and then joined Blue Sky for a temporary period, and then joined here at Voda as VP of Ops.
Excellent. And, such a wide array of different experiences from large franchise or medium-sized non-franchise, or what really drove you to start looking back into franchise? I know you had a little time outside of franchise.
Yeah, the industry being so fragmented the way it is, to really help support owners to grow and scale the restoration business, having the support and backbone of a franchise group is really the way to become successful and to scale quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So what really drives you? Obviously you're passionate about what drives that passion?
When I was in the insurance industry, we always had this conversation around it was a recession resistant. And I got the opportunity to sit with clients, listen to their needs, and help them protect their family and their investments. And that was rewarding. At the same time, making a good living in that industry. With restoration, we're doing something fairly similar. Again, having a recession-resistant industry, but we're truly helping people out in their greatest time of need right then and there. So very different than insurance and financials, where we're protecting and securing their future. Within the restoration space, we're there taking care of their problem then. So when their toilets are overflowing, or if a hurricane, decimates a community, we get to be right there and be their shoulder to cry on, their support, their voice, to be able to make sure we can recover from the disasters that they're experiencing.
Absolutely. And, leading to that, knowing that you could join many different companies, we're grateful that you're on the Voda team, but what really drove you to join Voda instead of another brand?
Yeah, the Voda brand and the people within Voda, it was really a change of pace. I think that's really what's needed for me, but also for the restoration industry as well. The desire to be innovative and creative and change and create a different type of restoration model was really exciting for me. In addition to that, everybody's hands-on. We look at our franchise owners as partners, not just a number on a spreadsheet. We truly want to see them succeed, because as they succeed, so do we. I think with that also, our ability to understand, lean into people capital is important. We understand this industry cannot be grown at a successful rate if we don't invest in our people. And Voda clearly has the culture to help build dynamic teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. We, as of today, really, we just brought on another success coach on your team, and really is enjoying our conversation we were having with him earlier today at HQ. I think he's going to do amazing things, continue to improve our processes. But So you feel like that the culture's here, you know, circling into restoration, what is your outlook on where the industry is heading in the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, and there's lots of speculation about where this industry could be heading. I think one of the biggest things for me is since COVID, I think that the communities out there have increased, they kind of like a heightened awareness, whereas environmental concerns in the past may not have been looked at as seriously from mold and asbestos. And I think what the pandemic did create was a heightened awareness of healthy homes and healthy businesses. So with that, I see that the future of the restoration space really continuing to dive into sanitization, disinfecting, cleaning to make sure that people are protecting their families against those items. In addition to that, technology is rapidly changing in our space. We've moved from the days where we had to use tape measures to laser measurers. Now we're using different types of technologies to get instant dimensions of homes and businesses. The other aspect is the involvement of the insurance companies, how deep they're involved into our industry and how we respond to insurance companies to make sure that we are properly providing the support to our clients as well.
Yeah. One of the things that we've done at Voda that I think is a fantastic innovation that, something that you really came to our organization and led the charge on was our technology component. If you know anything about restoration, it's one of the most fragmented, technologically challenged spaces there are. There is not one core product that communicates properly across the board. And, we were able to find a solution that we, do keep somewhat proprietary within our system, but that provides everything in one place and really communicates what we need back to corporate in a way that is really I've never seen done before. And it's interesting having that consistency within the system is making a huge difference. Although it's innovative and maybe there's some, it's so new for some of our general managers and early franchisees. But can you speak to that a bit? Like, what is the motivation behind why we needed such communicative and uniform technology in Voda?
Yeah, when it comes down to the restoration space, regardless of which service line that you're working on for that particular client, whether it be residential or commercial, having a unified set of documentation standards is incredibly important. This allows us to maximize our ability to have our invoices paid and less time to try to demonstrate why we were doing the things we were doing. So to have the software to put together all the pieces of the puzzle and provide an excellent output that justifies our actions on a job is clearly what the direction that we're trying to go within the industry. This also means not having 7 different pieces of software. We want to make sure that we're training efficiently and to create experts in the field on how to use the technology to their advantage. So this was a very big aspect of how we planned on growing and scaling the Voda brand to make sure that we're creating an impact, not just within the brand, but within the industry as well.
Yeah, I'm excited because I think that the way that our technology communicates is going to allow us to be able to land national accounts, be able to track everything and continue to provide national accounts in the future to franchise owners because we have the ability to create a uniform, platform. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, we started talking when Voda was in its infancy, really an idea, and you joined us. You took a swing, and joined us early in. What are your thoughts on the early success here of Voda?
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Talking to many different organizations prior to joining Voda, all of them have big talk. They can say, we've got these great ideas. We've got this amazing vision. We're willing to make it happen. And then sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. When meeting with the team here at Voda, there was a beautiful vision. There was a great plan in place to be able to grow and scale the brand. And that was really one of those things to say, okay, we're going to take that risk. Then to see it immediately get put into action, that was exciting. Everybody here is excited, has that passion. We all have the same vision in mind. And to see the early success that we've been having is nothing short of fantastic. And really positioning ourselves to take care of a brand and continue to scale at an alarming rate in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's interesting. I don't know about you, but I feel like, especially as we've added this additional success coach to the team, in a lot of ways, we're set up for more. Like it's not like any of us are panicking day to day. Our trainings are smooth. Everything's running well. And because we understood that, you can't hire when you need, you have to hire a quarter or even 2 quarters ahead. I think we've actually been 2 quarters ahead of a lot of situations. But I think about right now, it took us a few months to find, Eric, who's just joined us, took time, right? Just even thinking about it, structuring the comp plan, talking about it, things take time. And had we not started that process when we did, Eric's joining right as our other, success coach, as she's getting a bit busy, right? A bit too busy, you would argue. And knowing the numbers around when we need to add a success coach, we know when the next one is. I already think we're looking for them, right? Because we know that at X number of franchise owners, especially this many early in, we need to have the support to communicate with them. Franchising is an interesting business because as time goes on, franchise owners have different problems and there's still a tremendous amount of support that they need, but it's a different type of support. It's less about a reactionary, quick response time support when it's further along. But early in, you multiply one. Imagine someone just starts a business. You need a lot of people to help support lots of people all opening their doors right now that all have questions. I got a question here for you, but I'm gonna answer it myself as well, which was any learnings you have had since joining the Voda team. So one of the things I learned that I'm very grateful for, because it was just, I'd like to think it was well thought out, but it was a bit of luck, is we had decided to set up our Talent Scout program, which helps with hiring employees. And we thought there would definitely be success with that. I didn't expect to be as successful as we are. We're finding general managers with restoration experience joining the team. And boy, am I glad that we are, though, because what's happening is not only do we have success coaches, we have an army of general managers with restoration experience that are able to help our franchise owners navigate this new business. And all we have to do is not teach them restoration, but just teach them the Voda way. And so that's taking a lot of weight off of, I think, everyone's plate as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think one of the things that also that I think I've learned very early on here, in agreement with what you were saying as well, but this goes back to complement our team that we have. One of the biggest learnings I've had is, as you're an emerging brand and we're growing and scaling as quickly as we have, the ability to be quick to decisions and being nimble is incredibly important. And we've demonstrated that. And compliments to Christian and his team on the marketing side. If something's not panning out, something's not working in the favor of us as a brand, we do react quickly and create change. And, that's a fantastic place to be in this organization. And the learnings that we've had from it are that we need to continue to develop programs that we don't get set in our ways and just try to maintain a status quo. We need to continually be innovative and creative. And by continuing to do that, we'll continue to take over the market share that we're looking to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, that franchise playbook, who owns Voda, our thought process has always been bringing the brightest minds in franchising. And then we've extended that, kind of way of doing things to bringing in the brightest minds in restoration. I know now in the outlook, we're looking toward, sales support, more sales support. I know you're interviewing some people. I mean, for me, like, one of the things that's interesting is, there's a motto that I was taught in business, which is hire the director of engineering and they'll bring in the engineers. Right? You typically are able to recruit their own people. And that's something that I will always think about. When we hire at Voda, the leader hires their support, right? It makes sense. The leader of a department should hire their support, and their support should hire theirs, and it goes down, and teams are built that way. Culture is built that way. Arthur, another question I have for you is, what have you learned? Like, what is the biggest thing that you've learned in running Voda with us since joining?
Well, it kind of goes back to the prior couple of points that we've been making in terms of the people power. In speaking to that, and taking a look at the experience that our teams have. You mentioned the restoration experience, which is great, but when you look at the depth of franchising experience that Zach has and the depth of marketing experience that Christian has, I think really leaning in on those experiences are what is leading us to make the right decisions when it comes down to the people. This is a great experience to be in a position as a company to learn that we are positioning ourselves for success now versus being reactive to when we need it. To your point, to bring a new success coach on board or a new marketing coordinator on board, they don't immediately hit the ground running. They still have to understand our culture, our vision, and the fact that we're positioning this now already for our next wave. Just goes to show, and the learnings are for this organization, that the people are our primary asset. That's where our focus is, and it's where we'll stay focused. And by doing that, our franchise owners will continue to get the support that they need to be able to grow and scale their business.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts as we come toward wrapping up? What are your thoughts on the traction process that we're continually implementing?
Yeah, traction and other different operational practices that we're building on just continue to make sure that we are, again, building that structure to make sure that we have that backbone of support through this growth. As we're experiencing the growth that we have, without that structure, things can become a bit scrambled, and franchise support can become a bit scrambled. And ultimately, our goal here is to make sure that the franchise support never wavers, They're getting the tools necessary that they need to be successful. And to do that, we need to have our internal structure built there through Traction, through other platforms that we're integrating. This gives us the ability to continue to support and grow a network that could far exceed where our initial expectations were.
Absolutely. Are there any additional ways you think technology is going to influence restoration or home services moving forward?
Yeah, and technology being a big focus for Voda and how we're continuing to grow and scale. The important aspect of technology is the utilization of it, but also being cognizant of when we should apply it. Just because there's the new shiny toy out there does not necessarily mean it's going to be good for the brand. So part of our goals here are to be able to evaluate and implement the software at the appropriate timing for a franchise network. But as an industry, we are changing rapidly with technology. In addition to the scanning that we kind of talked about earlier, ease of use when it comes down to communication between insurance carriers, having proper photo skills and be able to upload those photos and have the capacity that prior we may not have been able to have. To store a terabyte of photos now is actually a very easy thing to do, where in the past that was a costly measure. So as technology continues to improve, utilization of cloud resources, different technology in the field, again, that's to create efficiency in our organization, but it won't replace the human aspect of our industry. We still got to be involved in the job. We're still out there building relationships. We are drawing the process out the appropriate way. Technology is just there to help support us and create efficiencies in the business. So we want to continue to focus in on that and, again, try to continue to be the pioneers of this technology in the restoration space.
Well, thanks again for joining, Arthur. Really do appreciate you taking some time to chat with me and speak for our audience. Let's go kick off this Discover Day, man.
Let's do it. Thanks, Dan.
You're f***ing fired.
If you want to say those words to your boss, make sure you head on over to ifiredmybosspodcast.com and fill out the form to schedule a no-cost consultation. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might also want to fire their boss.